spent the day on the road. What do you got?
Bill, I joined the March to Justice.
We young, we strong, we marching all day long.
It was organized by the Justice League of New York. They started in New York City in Staten Island yesterday. They just had breakfast and they're putting everything in the bus and we're gonna march on.
You could come up to the curb and stretch out your calves. So come up to the curb.
I'm gonna be driving behind at least 4 or 5 buses that are carrying the marchers.
They're right after a quarter of a mile.
You know, even on the March to Justice, trying to make history, you still have to deal with traffic on I-95. We got off at Route 1 by Monmouth Junction, right in front of the Islamic Mosque.
Who's this?
It's mine, leave it, please leave it. Police had to escort us to make sure that everybody was safe as we walked along Route 1.
Woo! When we say things like Black Lives Matter, it's all coming from a place of peace and love.
If we don't get it,
shut it down! I march because my sons someday, when I choose to have kids, are gonna look like the little boys on TV that have been left dead in the street for hours. That's not right. I have the utmost respect for police officers and what they do for us in protecting us, but I do think that there are issues that we need to address as a country, and we can't pretend like it's not happening.
They are marching to DC, where they're actually going to be meeting with our legislators. And they have a packet of legislation that they actually want to help push. They'd like to end the militarization of police.
We're not at war in our cities, right? And so when you put tanks on our streets, you already are creating this type of tension.
The other issue is racial profiling. They would like to have some reform to that.
I mean, what did you get out of it? Was this Al Sharpton and all the agitators screaming and yelling about the cops, or was there a little more thought put behind this?
You weave your agenda into everything, man. I swear to God. When you were
Agenda?
talking
It's a
about
legitimate
any of that,
question.
The legitimate question you're actually asking is, don't they know there's no such thing as racial profiling or police brutality?
No, I didn't say
Isn't
that.
what you're trying to say?
We could have a whole show on discussing how effective some police tactics are in certain areas, stop and frisk in New York, etc. But I want to ask the question about this group, where they focused, was it anti-cop? Was it pro-neighborhood? What was the feeling you got?
Carmen Perez was the organizer of this group. She spent 10 years advocating for juvenile justice reform, so they definitely know what they're talking about. They've actually set up meetings with legislators. These guys are the real deal.
Is this just, you know, feel good, we're going to go down and meet with Cory Booker and try to make a statement?
There's nothing feel good about racial profiling, so they're trying to address that, and that's what they're doing with this march. The small group doesn't reflect the massive outpouring there's been. Just go onto Twitter, check out March to Justice, and you will see how big of an online community they have.